Good evening, YouTube world. I hope everyone is doing well today. You are watching Sincerely Cindy Settle, and I am Cindy Settle. I hope everyone is doing well this evening. This is Memorial Day weekend. I hope you're able to spend some time with your loved ones that you haven't seen for some time. So here at Sincerely Cindy Settle, we do book recommendations, TV recommendations, movie recommendations, we do music recommendations. We also sprinkle in a little bit of fashion, some makeup, hairdos. We might sprinkle in some planners and some unboxings, all of the things that I love that I hope to share with you. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please hit the subscribe button, the like button. Feel free to comment, give me your input on anything that, any recommendations you might have, or if you've seen any of these TV shows, movies, or if you have book recommendations, I would love to hear from you as well. So this is going to be a quick video this time. I don't really have a whole lot that's changed since the last time we met. The last time I was here. So let's start with TV shows that I'm currently watching. So I'm still watching Gilmore Girls. There are like 7 seasons or something like that. So I'm currently on season 2, and I'm probably going to take a break from it and watch something else for a little bit. I watched Dead to Me on Netflix last summer, the first season that was out, so I'm hoping to get into that one next. So that's a Christina Applegate show. If you haven't watched it, it's good fun, and it's a cute little comedy. So I'm kind of in the mood for something like that. My husband and I are still watching The Five, which is also something that we're enjoying it, but I'm still kind of, I don't know, I'm not loving it, I'll be honest. It is a show on Netflix that is based on a Harlan Coben book. Again, it's interesting. It's just not as captivating as some of the other shows that we've been watching here. The last few times that I've posted on YouTube. So anyway, you might want to give it a try. It might be something that's up your alley. I'm not loving it right now, but we will go ahead and finish watching it just to see how things end, and then we'll come up with something else we want to watch. So is there something that you particularly like that is along that genre of The Sinner and The Five and Ozark and those kind of shows that you're enjoying that you think we might enjoy? I would love your recommendations. I'm always posting on Facebook about looking for those recommendations for other shows that we need to be watching. My husband's not a big TV show watcher, but he will watch with me and when we have some downtime. So any recommendations you might have would be awesome. So in terms of books, let's talk about books for a minute. So the book that I've been reading, and I've mentioned a couple times, is Ayesha at Last. I did finally finish it this evening. And I will say that, let me give you a quick review of this book. This is going to be the majority of the content of this video since, like I said, nothing else has really changed. So Ayesha at Last is by Uzma Jalaluddin. I believe that's how you say her name. It is a Muslim-based romance book that we read in Reading Brings Us Together for a buddy read, which means that we do a discussion day for the book. So I liked the premise of it. I liked that it was a different type of romance than what we have read before, in which we've never read anything that was Muslim-based. So this gave me the opportunity to learn a lot more about the Muslim religion and about that culture. So the author did a really good job of explaining those things to us and explaining the terminologies and explaining how some of those traditions and such were developed and how they are currently and how it's tradition. And so we had one character, Khalid, who I believe that's how you say his name, Khalid, who was very traditional in his role in terms of looking for an arranged marriage that his mother would arrange. And then you have Ayesha, who is not quite as traditional. Sure, she has those core family values. However, she's much more liberal in terms of she is out working. She has her own job. She's a little bit older than what most women are when they get married. She's 27. So most women of Islamic nature marry at a much younger age. So she was kind of out of the norm. So the author did a really good job of explaining all of that information and all that tradition piece. What I struggled with was there were so many characters and there were so many different plot lines that stemmed from these two main characters. So you had Khalid's mother, who he had some difficulties with. She was very controlling of him and he struggled with that relationship. You had his sister, who lived in India and was allegedly banished to India for some reason. Of course, we come to find that out later in the book. You have Ayesha and her cousin, who is completely different from Ayesha. She's very spoiled, very selfish, and not really a likable character. And then you had Ayesha and her mother and the loss of Ayesha's father and how all of that came to be and the explanation of how his passing occurred and happened. And so, I mean, there was a lot of stuff, a lot of subplots that were going on aside from the romance. So if romance is not necessarily your thing, then you may want to consider this book because there were other things that were going on throughout the book that kind of left you wondering, well, I wonder what happened there and who is this person and how is that relevant? So it did all end up coming together at the end. However, I did feel like it was somewhat rushed at the end. So you get to about 80% and you're starting to get into everything. So it didn't really start getting, so up to about 50%, it was rather slow and you're like, oh, okay, I get it now. Let's move on, move on. So then you start seeing that Khalid and Ayesha are starting to feel something for each other. And then it's just kind of like, okay, let's get going. And then at 80%, boom. So I kind of found it to be a little anticlimactic. You know, and I was kind of rushing through it, not really rushing through it, I was kind of skimming some of it because I didn't feel like a lot of it was relevant to the core plot of the story. So I would give it a good solid, I don't know, 2.5 to 3 stars. Again, the writing was good, a lot of good quotes, a lot of good explanation. I just feel like it was very wordy and I'm not one to typically enjoy wordy books that provide too much explanation. But I will provide you with a quick quote from the book. Again, it is Ayesha at Last by Uzma Jalaluddin. And the quote is, "Your heart and gut take over and your mind has to go along with them because it's going to happen no matter what. Sometimes you get a sign, sometimes the sign gets you." So I thought there were some very good quotes and it was an enjoyable read. It just took me a while to get through. Again, it was very wordy. So anyway, the other book I'm reading still is The Air He Breathes by Brittainy C. Cherry. I haven't made any progress on it. I've been trying to finish Ayesha. No new books to report this week, but I am going to try to get through The Air He Breathes for next week. Hopefully next week as well, I will also have the unboxing of the starter box of FabFitFun. So that will be exciting. And then I'm hoping to start getting more of those, maybe once a month, do some sort of unboxing of some fashion options. So our music recommendations this week are Lady Marmalade by Christina Aguilera, Pink, Missy Elliott, and Maya. Circus by Kiss. And then we have Mamas Don't Let Your Babies Grow Up to Be Cowboys by Waylon Jennings. So you got a good classic there at the end to wrap things up with, a good hair band in the middle, and then just a good feel good, get your body moving and feeling pretty kind of song there at the beginning for Lady Marmalade. So if you have any music recommendations, please pass those along to me as well. I'm not really going to go over the fashion today. It's rather weak. It is the weekend. It's a holiday weekend. I just have on a t-shirt and a pair of jean shorts. You'll find that a lot of my outfits are very low key. So we're going to skip that this week and hopefully get back to it next week. Just so you can get an idea of where my fashion sense stands. Thanks. Have a good weekend. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. Like the channel, comment on the channel. I look forward to seeing you next week. Again, I am signing off. This is Cindy Settle at Sincerely Cindy Settle. Bye.